Hello friends and welcome back! Back today with another Knights of the Old Republic 2 video for you. We're going to be doing a little bit of a beginner's guide, going over how to set up your character and things you're going to want to consider when starting your playthrough. We'll be covering the Jedi classes, attributes, skills, and then some of the feats you're going to want to use with. Prestige classes and what they do, as well as attacks and force powers and which one will be best for you. Also be sure to cover my take on how I think you should level up your companions, and the widely asked question of single lightsaber versus dual lightsabers. So let's start with the three Jedi classes to choose from. Jedi Guardian, Jedi Sentinel, and Jedi Counselor. Jedi Guardians have more health points and less force points compared to the other two, and you get the force jump ability, which is pretty cool. Jedi Sentinels have a more medium level health point and force point ratio, and they have immunity towards control effects from enemies with force attacks. Sentinel class also does have the best skill set, with more skills for your class skills, which are the yellow ones that are easier to level up. Jedi Counselors have lower health point but higher force points. They also get +4 to all force power DCs and more force powers from leveling than the other two classes. The game does say this class is for advanced players only, but I think that's just due to the health point and force point ratio, because you start out with low amount of health points. I won't be getting into too much detail regarding the stats and the numbers, but I have linked the wiki for the Jedi classes down in the description. Essentially, Guardian is better for someone wanting to use mainly lightsabers and melee attacks. Counselor will be for someone using force powers more, and Sentinel is the nice in-between with a lot of skills. After selecting your class, we will pick our attributes. Strength relates to melee damage and chance to hit an opponent. Dexterity level will determine defense and ranged chance to hit an opponent, and it'll be a factor towards reflex saves. Constitution will give you better fortitude saves and health points per level. Higher intelligence will relate to the amount of skill points you get per level. Wisdom will relate to force power DCs and maximum force points. Lastly, Charisma will affect force potency for damage and healing powers, and affect force point cost for powers of the opposite alignment. Without high Charisma, Force Heal for a Dark Side Jedi will use quite a bit of your force points, and same thing as like Force Lightning for a Light Side Jedi. Next up is skills. Class skills cost 1 point to increase, while non-class skills cost 2 points to increase. Guardian class skills consist of Demolitions, Awareness, Persuade, and Treat Injury. Sentinel class skills are Computer Use, Stealth, Awareness, Persuade, Security, and Treat Injury, while Counselor class skills are Awareness, Persuade, Repair, and Treat Injury. So we can see here the Sentinel class is the way to go if you want diversity in skills. The skills are pretty self-explanatory. Computer Use will make it easier for you to do computer stuffs in terms of lower amount of parts and spikes needed to do random computer actions. Demolition skills will let you set, disable, and collect enemy mines. The more deadly the mine, the higher the demolition level needed to collect it. Stealth lets you sneak around undetected with the help of a stealth field generator or force camouflage. Higher the stealth, the less likely you are to be detected. I would suggest not leveling up this skill too much, as the other ones will just be of more help, or at least work for me. Next is Awareness. It helps you detect stealth enemies and mines, and it'll also factor into dialogue and give you some additional choices. Persuade, I recommend you get. Higher Persuade level unlocks a lot of extra dialogue, as well as some shortcuts and quests where you can just persuade them into giving you the answer. Repair skill helps in repairing, obviously. Higher the skill, the easier it'll be, handy for fixing droids and broken computers. Security skill will grant you the ability to open locked doors and containers. Using bash to open them can damage the contents. Lastly, Treat Injury. This one is a decent one to level up. Higher Treat Injury will increase the heals for med packs. More necessary if you aren't taking advantage of Force Heal. Next I will cover some of the feats and attacks you should consider. I will cover just a few of the more important ones. Here's the feat I think you should be on the lookout for first. 2-weapon fighting, or dueling. You'll want 2-weapon fighting if you're going for dual-wielding lightsabers, or you're going to carry a dual-bladed lightsaber. Go for dueling if you're going to stick to having just one single lightsaber. First off though, I want to share my opinion of lightsaber dual wielding. And my opinion is that it is better than carrying a single blade or dual bladed lightsabers. And the reason that I think that it is better is because you can add double the upgrades since you have a whole additional saber with slots. Add the 2-weapon fighting feat and the extra upgrades alone should add way more power and damage than having just one single lightsaber or a dual bladed lightsaber. Then the benefits from the upgrades on both lightsabers will be applied to the same attack. Due to this, sticking to one single-bladed lightsaber or a dual-bladed lightsaber would probably only be beneficial for someone looking to enact a cameo or roleplay as the Jedi who has just one single saber. In that case, you should get the dueling feat, but in all other cases, I suggest the two-weapon fighting to take advantage of the extra upgrade slots that'll add on during your attack. Next, you should grab any feat that increases stats with a lightsaber. Lightsaber finesse and lightsaber proficiency are a must. Lightsaber finesse will add your strength or dexterity, whichever is higher, as a bonus to your chance to hit. You can also get melee finesse for early game before you get your saber if you're rocking vibroblades. Two feats I always make sure to get are regenerate force points and regenerate vitality points. They're really good to have, so you don't have to rely so much on force heal and med packs. Lastly, for feats, we will cover the three main attacks: power attack, critical strike, and flurry. Power attack will hit hard and cause the most damage, while critical strike will still cause a good amount of damage, but sometimes you do get the massive critical, and that can cause just as much damage as the power attack. Critical strike does have a higher defense penalty than power attack though. Flurry adds an extra attack in there, but still doesn't output the massive damage like the other two. Best bet would be lightsaber upgrades that increase criticals and then spam them with power attack. If you like one of the other attacks more, you can upgrade it and pick your saber upgrades accordingly and still get great use from those attacks. With the attacks covered, let's go over some of the more necessary force powers. We will start with the offense powers. The most OP power in the game, Force Lightning. The best power in the game for damage for sure. You can slay groups of enemies very quickly, a must for dark side players. Even when playing light side, I'll just put a lot of points into charisma so I can still use Force Storm for how powerful it is. Force Wave is also a good one. Knocks enemies down and stuns for 6 seconds. It's also a universal power for both light side and dark side. Insanity is a good one too. It's a dark side power like Force Wave. Causes enemies to freak out for about 12 seconds. Get Insanity if you're going dark side. Lightsiders might get better use from Force Wave, especially if you have lower charisma. Revitalize is another one that I always get. When your teammates run in like dumbasses and get knocked down, you can bring them back to life so you can spam them with Force Heal. And then you're back on the offensive, so that's why I put this one in here. Most offensive powers are for dark side users, and that's probably because lightsiders are supposed to only use their powers to help, and not on the offense. Now let's cover a few defensive powers. Force Heal is no surprise number 1. Great for healing, duh, and Master Heal cures poisoning. I always get this light side or dark side, as you occasionally do need to heal right there in the middle of battle. Just make sure to beef that charisma if you are a darksider. Death Field is a good alternative for darksiders to Force Heal. Deal some damage and then you get healed for the damage dealt. Energy Resistance is a really good one. It's just like an energy shield. Force Barrier is also a really good one, similar to a melee shield. Valor is a decent one for its boast attributes and saving throws. And lastly, Battle Meditation is pretty good for a Jedi Guardian or a lightsaber focused player. It adds a boost to attack rolls, damage, and will saves. With the more important force powers covered, let's talk real quick about prestige classes. Once you hit level 15 and are far enough light side or dark side, you can chat with Kreia and she will bump you up to a prestige class. The prestige classes are, of course, just a higher tier of the original classes and are grouped by your alignment. For the Jedi side, we have Jedi Weapons Master, Jedi Watchman, and Jedi Master. For the Sith side, we have Sith Marauder, Sith Assassin, and Sith Lord. Jedi Weapons Master and Sith Marauder being the Prestige Guardian class, Jedi Watchman and Sith Assassin the Prestige Sentinel class, and Jedi Master and Sith Lord being the Counselor Prestige classes. So I'm going to take some time here to break these down for you as to what they offer and how they can be best used. I won't get into the exact numbers too much, but I have linked the wiki page for the Prestige classes if you want to see those. So let's start off with the Guardian Prestige classes. Jedi Weapons Master and Sith Marauder. Best choice if you're a lightsaber player. Great amount of health points, bonus damage, and damage resistance. While the Weapons Master and the Sith Marauder seem pretty similar just on opposite sides, they will differ on what feats and bonuses come with them. Light side, Jedi Master feats, will include increased melee damage, inner strength, and deflect. Increased melee damage is good for your saber hits, inner strength is better damage resistance, and deflect is added blaster bolt deflection. Dark side, Sith Marauder feats will include increased combat damage, ignore pain, and the force power Fury. You get damage bonus from increased combat damage damage resistance from Ignore Pain, and Fury is a force power that grants a strength bonus and fortitude and will saves. At a higher level, it'll also grant more attacks per round. Jedi Weapons Master and Sith Marauder are the only two classes that can get superior weapon focus for lightsabers and superior two-weapon fighting. These two are pretty awesome for your attack. They are unable to choose the following feats: Caution, Close Combat, Conditioning, Empathy, Gearhead, and Stealth Run. Like mentioned previously, this is probably the best class if you let your lightsaber do all the talking. Next up is the Sentinel Prestige classes, Jedi Watchman and Sith Assassin. These two are more similar than the last pair were. Like the Sentinel class, they have the best skill set out of the three, but definitely don't get the amount of cool bonuses like the Weapon Master or Marauder do. Both get only one feat, Sneak Attack, and one force power, Force Camouflage. Sneak Attack grants bonus damage when attacking in stealth and from behind, with Force Camouflage simply giving a stealth bonus. Honestly, I personally never cared for it. I always run in Saber first or casting Mad Force powers. The best reason to go Jedi Watchman or Sith Assassin is for the awesome skill set that comes with, or if you are the sneaky type. Watchmen and Assassins cannot use the following feats: Close Combat, Dual Strike, and Regenerate Vitality points. Last up is the Counselor Prestige classes, Jedi Master and Sith Lord. In my opinion, the most badass sounding of the lineup. I mean, come on, Jedi Master or Sith Lord? To me, it just sounds like top tier max level type status. Like the previous one, you aren't offered as many cool bonuses as the Guardian Prestige gets. You of course get more force points than the other two prestiges, but you only get one bonus force power. For light side Jedi Master, you get Inspire Followers, which is pretty decent. It adds a bonus to your entire party, bonus to party's attack and damage, as well as bonus to party's will saves. Not too bad if you're more of a Force user who is constantly buffing the party with powers. The dark side Sith Lord force power you get is Crush Opposition. Crush Opposition has negative effects on enemy attacks and will saves, and lasts for 45 seconds. Not as cool as Inspire Followers, I think, but better than nothing if you're still going for Sith Lord for the force points. Just like the Counselors, Jedi Masters and Sith Lords will get more force points than the other two classes. They also cannot use the following feats: Caution, Close Combat, Gearhead, and Stealth Run. So with the Prestige classes covered, let's talk about the best way to use them. Before I understood all the game mechanics, I would stick with my beginning class. Like I would start with Guardian and then Prestige into Jedi Weapons Master, or I would go Counselor and then Prestige into Sith Lord. I think of it as the classic strategy. Go Guardian and then go into Prestige Guardian and you're a damage outputting beast with everything focused on output damage. Go Counselor and Prestige to Counselor and you have an insane amount of force points and force powers. I really chose Sentinel because I just level up companion skills so I can use those skill points for Persuade or Treat Injury instead of having to level up Demolitions. Marauder is always my Demolitions dude. As I got older and I understood the game more, I realized I could mix it up and pick two different classes. I call it the cross-classing strategy. I could pick Guardian at the beginning and start with a lot of health points, and then Prestige into Jedi Master or Sith Lord and start accruing a hefty amount of force points. So hard-hitting damage output in the beginning until level 15, and then focus on some late-game super force powers like Force Storm. Or maybe even better, Counselor in the beginning for good force boosting, and then Weapons Master or Marauder later in the game when I have a nice beefed up lightsaber to go with it. You also keep your class skills from each class that you were. So if you enjoy leveling up all your skills, you could start as a Sentinel and then Prestige into a Jedi Master or Sith Lord, and you would have almost every skill as a class skill, making it way easy to max them all out. Then you can level them all up and still get a nice boost of force points and powers later on in the game, or melee damage if you Prestige into a Weapons Master or Marauder. It's so much fun to play around with and build your characters just right. It also adds so much replayability. That's why I love this game, is for the insane amount of replayability. It's years and years after its release, and there's other awesome brand new games coming out. And here I am, replaying Knights of the Old Republic 2. You know, what do you want to do? A male or female? Light side male or dark side female? Male Sith Lord or female Jedi Weapons Master? Am I a straight Weapons Master, or am I a Sentinel Weapons Master hybrid with maxed out skills and high damage output? So many paths, and the story changes with it and your choices. It's such an amazing game. Alright, I want to cover two more things that kind of go hand in hand. 1. Blaster builds for you and your companions. And 2. How I level up my companions. Works for me, might do the same for you. So blaster builds, in terms of building your guy with feats and not blaster builds as in upgrades. Don't do this on yourself, ever. Do it on companions who don't have force sensitivity. So like Mandalore, Hanhar, and all your droid companions. Blaster builds are very feat dependent. Spending all your feats on blaster stats makes you miss out on a lot of lightsaber and force related feats that would help you out way more than the blaster would. Who plays as a Jedi to use a blaster and not the lightsaber or the force, right? So know what companions can be converted to Jedi and only do blaster builds on the companions that aren't force sensitive. So that leaves us left with the force sensitive companions. Marauder, Atton, Mira, Visa, Kreia, and Disciple are handmaiden. Visa and Kreia come to the party as Jedi already, so level them the way you see fit. Aside from Kreia, due to having just one hand, I recommend giving all Jedi dual lightsabers with the 2-weapon fighting feat. That way, lightsaber upgrades from both sabers will be applied to your attacks or whatever effect your upgrade causes. Like I said earlier, I believe this to be the best option for equipping lightsabers both to yourself and party members. The party members who you turn Jedi will also be of a certain Jedi class, and you can build them to take advantage of that. Marauder is a guardian, so you can focus melee damage for him. Kreia is a counselor, so you can build her for force points and to buff the team. And Atton is a sentinel, so you can level up the skills on him to help you out later on in the ones that you are lacking. This next part some people won't agree with, but personally, in my playthroughs, I never level up anyone until they are a Jedi. Some will say, oh, but Atton gets scoundrel perks, or Handmaiden is a great fighter, and you're missing out on a good combat companion since you had to wait till level 18 before you could convert her. Yeah, I don't care. I look at it as simply just a trade-off. You can have garbage beginning companions, but more force power and force feats later on, or you could have awesome starting and fighting companions, but less force powers and force feats, since you leveled them up a few times before they were Jedi. Neither option is wrong, it's just whatever you want to do. With the level of replayability, give them both a shot and see what you would enjoy more. But that's pretty much it. Blaster builds on non-force sensitive companions. Force sensitive companions give dual lightsabers. Level them up after converting them for more force powers and force feats. And build them for what works best for their Jedi class. And there you go. That'll conclude my beginner's guide for starting a new playthrough in Knights of the Old Republic 2. Hopefully it provided you with some good information so you can get the most out of your character in your playthrough. Feel free to comment or hop in the Discord with any questions. What do you guys do with leveling companions? Do you agree in waiting until they are Jedified to take advantage of the Jedi feats and powers? Or do you prefer them leveled up to their current strongest potential so they can help you out in the fights? Let me know down below. If this video was helpful at all, go on and give her a like and then get subscribed so you can see all the latest content as it comes out. I appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I hope to see you around next time. Good luck on those character builds, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one!